Indiana manufacturers, your electrical components supply chain is in the middle of a shakeup. And if you source components or industrial automation hardware out of Northwest Indiana, this one is worth 2 minutes of your attention right now. Rexel USA has agreed to acquire Revere Electric Supply, the 100-year-old, 375-person, 10-location Midwest distributor that reaches directly into Northwest Indiana. Rexel is one of the largest electrical distributors in the United States, operating more than 450 warehouses and storefront locations under banners like Rexel, Gexpro, Mayer, and Tally. Revere has been the kind of regional supplier that Indiana plant leaders have trusted for generations. Authorized Rockwell Automation distributor, deep industrial automation expertise, strong local account relationships. Here is what you need to know before your next ops meeting. The Revere name stays, the leadership stays, but consolidation under a national platform at this scale historically erodes pricing leverage, account management assignments, and technical support depth over time, even when the banner on the front door does not change. So in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through exactly what was announced, what Rexel committed to, and the specific questions you need to put in front of your procurement lead and your Revere account rep today, so you're not reacting after the terms have already been restructured. If you source electrical components, switchgear, or Rockwell Automation products through Revere Electric Supply, the company you've been buying from for years is now part of a global distributor with 19.4 billion in annual sales and operations in 17 countries. And the clock on the transition started yesterday, May 12th. Here is what was actually announced. Rexel USA, headquartered in Dallas, reached an agreement to acquire Revere Electric Supply out of Mokena, Illinois. Revere was founded in 1919, over a century of operation, and today runs 10 locations serving northern Illinois, central Illinois, southeast Wisconsin, and northwest Indiana. The company employs 375 people. Tom Eisman Sr. and Eric Eisman, the current principal owners, built this into a cornerstone Midwest industrial distributor over multiple generations of family ownership. The stated terms are about as favorable as you're going to see in an acquisition announcement. Revere will continue operating under the Revere Electric Supply name. Rexel USA has explicitly stated it will not change the banner, the leadership team, or the operating model. John Caddy, who is president of Revere Electric Supply, will stay in that role and will actually take on expanded responsibility. He will lead Rexel's broader Midwest region going forward. Roger Little, CEO of Rexel USA, said directly, and I'm quoting here, "We are committed to supporting Revere's continued success, investing behind its people, and preserving what has made the company strong for generations." And John Caddy's own statement was equally direct. Our customers, employees, and partners can expect continuity in how we operate and serve them. That is a strong set of commitments. But here is what I want Indiana plant leaders to understand. Acquisition announcements always lead with continuity. The question is not what the press release says on day one. The question is what happens to your account 6 months after the transaction closes, when integration decisions get made at the national level and local service models start absorbing Rexel's standard operating procedures. Revere's value to Northwest Indiana manufacturers has always been rooted in three things: deep technical expertise in industrial automation, authorized Rockwell Automation distribution, and strong local account relationships. All three of those are worth verifying right now, not because Rexel has given you a reason to doubt them, but because once a transaction closes and integration begins, your window to negotiate or clarify terms on your own terms narrows pretty fast. The official close date for this transaction has not yet been announced, so watch for that date and any follow-on communication from John Caddy or Roger Little about account management assignments, service territory structure, and Rockwell Automation authorization status in the Midwest region. So let me take this one level deeper because the Rexel-Revere deal is not just a procurement headline. It's a signal about a broader pattern that Indiana manufacturers have been exposed to for years without fully stress testing it. So here's the pattern. A regional distributor earns your trust over years, sometimes decades even. They know your facility, your account history, your lead time requirements. They have technical reps who understand your automation architecture. You build your procurement workflow around that relationship, and then a large national or global platform acquires them. In the near term, nothing changes. The name is the same. Your rep is probably still your rep, but under the surface, several things already start shifting. Pricing agreements that were negotiated locally now have to be reconciled with the acquiring company's national pricing structure. Credit terms that your team negotiated based on a long-standing relationship with a family-owned business now run through a corporate credit function, and technical support that was delivered by a dedicated local team may eventually be absorbed into a centralized model designed for scale, not for the specific needs of a Northwest Indiana manufacturing facility. Now, none of that is guaranteed to happen with Revere under Rexel. Rexel is an experienced acquirer, and they have clearly stated their intent to preserve what makes Revere valuable. But experienced acquirers have also learned that integration always takes longer, costs more, and disrupts more than the announcement ever suggests. So here is what I would do if I were running a plant in Northwest Indiana that depended on Revere for local electrical components or Rockwell Automation hardware. First, I would pull up every active purchase order, standing agreement, and open quote that runs through Revere right now. I want to know the dollar volume, the lead times we've been promised, and whether any of those agreements have explicit terms about pricing stability or account continuity. Second, I would call my Revere account rep this week, not after the transaction closes, this week, and ask them directly, are my account terms, technical support levels, and Rockwell automation access going to be formally confirmed in writing as part of the Rexel integration? Third, I would use this moment to map out every place in my electrical and automation supply chain where I am dependent on a single national distributor with no qualified backup. Not because I think Revere is going to fail under Rexel ownership, but because this deal just handed me the exact business justification I need to have that supply chain review conversation with my procurement team. Revere is an authorized Rockwell Automation distributor, and that authorization is worth paying attention to specifically. Authorized distributor status is not automatically transferred or perpetually guaranteed in an acquisition. It's worth confirming with Rockwell directly that the Northwest Indiana service territory and Revere authorization status will be maintained under Rexel ownership through the transition period and beyond. The Rexel network is substantial, over 450 locations, 8 U.S. regions, and global scale. For Revere customers, that scale can be a genuine advantage. Deeper inventory, broader product access, stronger global supply chain resilience. The question for Indiana plant leaders is whether that scale advantage shows up at your account level or if it stays at the corporate level. That answer will not be in the press release. It will be in the first 6 months of integration, and you will feel it. Today, you're looking at a single story with two distinct layers, a distributor acquisition that is clean and well structured on the surface, and an underlying supply chain dependency question that every Indiana manufacturer with a regional electrical distributor relationship needs to take seriously. Rexel USA is acquiring Revere Electric Supply, 375 employees, 10 locations, over 100 years of Midwest distribution history, and a direct reach into Northwest Indiana. The stated commitments are strong. Revere is keeping its name, John Caddy keeps his role and expands it, and Rexel has been explicit about preserving Revere's culture and operating model. These are better than average acquisition terms, but the job of a plant leader is not to take press releases at face value. The job is to verify that your supply chain is intact before the integration decisions are made above your pay grade. That means confirming your Rockwell automation access, your pricing agreements, your lead times, and your account relationships in writing this week before the transaction closes. So today's bottom line is this: Rexel USA's acquisition of Revere Electric Supply keeps the Revere name and leadership in place for now, but Indiana manufacturers who depend on Revere for electrical components and Rockwell automation products should confirm their account terms, lead times, and technical support levels today before post-acquisition restructuring makes that conversation significantly harder. Now, obviously, I don't run your plant. You do that. My real job as CEO of Tactical Energy Group is to stay on top of everything that changes the cost and reliability of your power and the economics of making things in Indiana so we can build the right products and programs to support the manufacturing community. But while I'm doing that work anyway, this brief is my way of giving you as much of that insight as I possibly can so you can spend more time running your operation and less time trying to decode your bills and understand rate cases and interpret the headlines. So, let me give you 3 questions you can take straight into your morning huddle today. I won't bore you with useless theoretical questions. If you have an active relationship with Revere Electric Supply, these are conversations your procurement team needs to have before the transaction closes, because once integration is underway, the people with authority to confirm your terms may not be the same people you've been working with for many years. So the first question is this: do we currently source electrical components, switchgear, or Rockwell Automation products through Revere Electric Supply? And if so, have we reached out to our account rep to confirm that pricing, lead times, and technical support will remain unchanged under Rexel USA? Second, with a national distributor now absorbing one of our Midwest electrical suppliers, where else in our supply chain are we dependent on a single regional distributor? And what is our backup if that relationship changes after an acquisition? Number 3, are we getting the full value of our authorized distributor relationships for industrial automation hardware? And should we be reviewing those agreements now before any post-acquisition restructuring changes our access or our terms? Those 3 questions are the productive output of today's brief. If your team can answer all 3 before the end of the week, you're ahead of most Northwest Indiana manufacturers on this one. Keep an eye on the official close date for the Rexel-Revere transaction. Confirm your account relationships are intact. Get your Rockwell Automation authorization status verified in writing and bring today's questions to your procurement lead. That is the work. If today's brief was useful to you, make sure you like and subscribe. We put out a new brief every single weekday, and this is exactly the kind of supply chain development that does not always make the headline, but absolutely affects your operation. I am Daniel Burke. This is TEG Daily Indiana Manufacturing News, and I will see you tomorrow.